Thank you. None of the council know that I'm going to state what I'm going to state tonight. I'm going to take leave to present my council report early, and it goes like this. And nobody knows what I'm going to say. Nobody, I haven't consulted with anybody, actually. I've kept a pretty low key during this election. I've done some things for certain candidates, but I've not waved any signs. I haven't really gone to any fundraisers because I didn't think that I basically should, and I really thought that I would make it through tomorrow night without having to do that. However, Friday morning, as I read our illustrious newspaper, I came across an article in which there are some quotes from Peter Graves, the executive director of the Washington State Republican Party, which stated, and I quote, "The party decided to give to Condon to take her, the mayor, out before she gets a chance at a free shot at a great congresswoman in the 5th District, namely our great representative, Cathy McMorris-Rodgers." And Mr. Graves goes on to say, quote, "We want to make Spokane County a reliably Republican county. Don't even try to object, because you're not going to object. I'm not going to take any objections. I'm going to say what I got to say. Now, taking out can mean going on a date. Taking out can mean, I don't know, getting fast food. I don't know what meaning Mr. Graves stated, but I can tell you right now, there's another meaning to taking somebody out, and that's a little bit more sinister. That can mean eliminate, remove, annihilate. Now, I and Mr. David Condon know the meaning of the last definition of taking somebody out, because I've been in combat. I know that meaning, and Mr. Condon has been in a combat support hospital, so he knows firsthand what taking somebody out can mean. Now, it's not just soldiers that know this meaning. Public officials do too. From the president on down to our great Congresswoman Cathy McMorris-Rodgers, and down to the mayor, this council, and further down. I myself have had somebody threaten to take me out. That person's now in the Oregon penal system. Because of all of this, I find these remarks of Mr. Peter Graves to be reprehensible, repugnant, and cowardly. Only a coward would use his position to hide behind to take a statement such as taking out a public official. The statement itself is an affront to all the citizens of this city, no matter what political persuasion, because it demeans the office of our mayor to be nothing more than a pawn in a political chess game. Instead of the focus being on Mr. Graves' candidate, such that it would be on the issues of the city, the focus is on protecting our great Congresswoman, Cathy McMorris-Rodgers. These races are supposed to be nonpartisan. In fact, Section 58 of our charter states the manner and method of holding and calling all municipal elections, both general and special, shall be according to state law. All municipal elections shall be nonpartisan and by the qualified electors of the city. Even candidates in the city have put on their signs, nonpartisan. I call upon our great representative, Cathy McMorris-Rodgers, Mr. Condon, to publicly disavow any support for and connection with Mr. Graves' statements and to demand his resignation as executive director of the Washington State Republican Party. Thank you very much. Okay, Terry, you got no emergency ordinances. We have resolutions and final reading ordinances.
We do have two.
Questions? Thank you. That concludes our legislative session. We now move to council reports. Councilmember Waldrop.
Thank you, Council President. Before I get into my report, I feel like I have to make a comment on your earlier statements that I take issue and I strongly object to using this forum and these meetings. They should never be used to promote or oppose political candidates running for office, and even commenting on any campaigns that are going on can cross the line. So I just I feel that your comments were inappropriate and they didn't add any value to this meeting. And so let's just not go there again.
Thank you very much. But the comments were generated by language indicating a threat to a public official, including us. I don't know the gentleman that made the statement. I don't know what was in his mind. My responsibility is for the safety of this council, and I accept your concern, but if I had to do it again, I'd do it again. Go ahead.
Thank you, Council President.
Ms. McLaughlin.
Thank you. First of all, I have to, I think, comment on the earlier comments today by our Council President. I appreciate Councilwoman Waldrop's remarks. I have to say that I did leave the room. I just wish I had left a couple minutes earlier. And I just want to state that while maybe a very small majority of people might have taken that, the intent of the language as being a public safety issue, I don't believe that the majority of people did. I know I didn't when I read it, and so I do
you know
take
Mr.
issue
Graves,
with the issue.
McLaughlin? Personally?
Moving on,
Okay,
I would like to say that...
Mr. Snyder.
Thank you. Thank you for the remote control that allows me to show you this slide. Judy Shepard is coming to town. You may recall she is the mother of Matthew Shepard, the college student who was brutally murdered in Wyoming a few years back. She will be coming to speak this Thursday, November 10th, 2011 at 7 p.m. at the Coles Auditorium, 300 West Hawthorne Road. That's at Whitworth University, at Whitworth, I believe. Judy Shepard's son, Matthew, student at the University of Wyoming, was murdered for being homosexual, and Judy and her husband founded the Matthew Shepard Foundation, which advocates for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgendered rights. I think it'll be a great event. If you're interested, once again, it's November 10th, 2011 at 7 p.m. out there at Whitworth. Since we're commenting on Council President's comments earlier in the evening, I'll chime in. While Council President's, I respect Councilmember Waldrop's concern, and while Council members' President's comments weren't the way I would have made them, and may in fact have strayed to the election, the base underlying concern that he expressed is one that I share as well. That language was completely inappropriate and disrespectful to our mayor. And in an age where we have incidents like Gabrielle Giffords, and those incidents do happen, I think it's important to take these things seriously, and I appreciate that aspect of his comments. And I will pass it over to Council Pro Tem Steve Corker.
I'm going to add my comments to the remarks that the Council President made tonight. I think for the remarks to be made on the dais as a part of a formal council meeting, and to use Channel 5 as a means of expressing it, was entirely inappropriate. The Council President has every right to have a press conference as an individual on non-city time, but to use the dais was an inappropriate action on his part. And even though he won't apologize for it, I will. This dais should not...
You can apologize for yourself, Mr. Corker. Don't include me in your apology.
It was inappropriate, and I'm sorry that it took place. Thank you.
You, Mr. Apple?
I also walked off the dais because I know it is inappropriate. I won't go further than that. I also